Hello, my name is Connie Thor, and I'm sorry for seeing this white thing on here. I had a blister recently from the sun, so I have a patch over my lip right now. So if you see that, I'm sorry. So for this video, I'm here to synthesize everything I learned from this personal identity activity that we did. And based off from this, I learned a lot about myself in reference to my culture, to how I grew up. Everything I've done is shaped towards how I grew up and all the oppressions I had. So I'm moving past those and working hard towards my goals and my dreams and everything. That goes in hand with my identity web and my cultural iceberg. In my cultural iceberg, I talked about how in my culture, it was something really invisible that people don't see is the big gender inequality and how that really shaped me, who I am, to be a hard worker, to surpass all those things, to make sure that, I am seen just as much as the male figures in my household, and to know that I could also care for my parents as a guy could be capable of. So in any cases, that's why I strive for higher education. I strive for all these things. So then I'm not shown as a weak girl who's just built to become a housewife. And that's why I work so hard toward everything I have. And I realized that a lot of my thoughts and values really came around there. Because for my cultural identity, I have down respect, accountability, growth mindset, honesty, and gender equality down for my one of my for one of my topics on there. And it really showed that gender equality played a big role for me, and just talking about honesty and the truth, and about how girls are just as capable too, and just being able to own up to all the things, or the wrongdoings that you may have in your life. And I talked about in my reflection of my identity web about how when my brothers, they did something bad or wrong, my parents never put them accountable for their actions, but when we did it, we were really seen as that's bad and everything. So just that point where, like, they really hurt the girls by doing that. So it just really played a big role into how I see things and how much I want to strive to surpass that. And it goes down to where we were doing the biases, and it really just showed me that a lot of my biases as a learner came from seeing bias towards men and women, and about how my family played a big role in that, and about how when I'm looking, society also played a big role in that too. So talking about how women can't gain those promotions as much, or women can't get certain job as much because they're seen as someone who's not willing to put the time and effort in because they have to sacrifice that time for the family. As on the other hand, men get that support to go in more to the job in the field and sacrifice their family a bit. So it's just all about those differences that I came to have that big bias because also how my family was like. And so when it came to like achieving my goals and everything, I didn't really have that support much, as I was more supported to become a housewife. But I had support from my sisters who all went through this, and they were very, very supportive of me to achieve what I wanted, achieve the goals I wanted, to do something more than become a housewife. So do something before becoming a housewife in my name, want to create my own name for me. So it was really great to see how I was able to dissect all that together. And even through the test, I was clearly able to see that, I have a bias towards men and women when it comes to the work field and everything like that. And then there's also even a part about my own race, and also how that played a role in everything. And like I said, my family also played a big role in that. I never really thought my race or any race would affect me, but every time I think about it and I go, oh, there is a certain time that I remember in my life that my parents would be like, a certain race is like this, so don't go near them. But it's because they're getting their sources from the media, and the media blows everything up into proportions without the whole truth, or they're just generalizing one thing for the whole race. So I think that's also where my parents got their information from. So it was always don't do this. And then as I grew up older, I got to experience all these things through 4 different districts. I went to Clovis, Singer, Central Unified, and Fresno Unified, and I went through all those, and they each have such different dynamics to them. Especially when I came to Fresno Unified, I got to experience a lot of different diverse diverse cultures that I didn't like get to in other areas. So it was a really changing point where I go, that's not really who they are as media portrays them. That's just a little portion of everyone. So I was like, I know where it goes. I know that race, I don't put much thought into it, as I see the people for who they are. And I see their race as a culture that I could learn, not exactly how that defines them. So I understand, like, through my experiences, I kind of understand how that is, and how stereotyping could play a big role. As I was always stereotyped, oh, she's Asian, she must be smart. She's Asian, she must be good at math and science. And, I'm actually horrible at math and science. So those are just like some things that just stood out. And I'm like, there are stereotypes through our learning journey and everything, and we just don't see them, or we don't pay attention to them. But when you start to slowly dissect them, it's there, it's visible there. And sometimes your home dynamics plays a role in it, sometimes your culture plays a role in it, and sometimes media plays a role too. So it's just all these things that play together. So after I was just really into this activity, this assignment, I was really understanding little things about myself that I would have never thought of if I didn't do this. So, and then just think about learning about my assets, about how my asset goes really big with my self-values. It goes really big with how I'm a big dreamer because of what happened to me, and how I love to give that support. Because when I think about it, my students may be in the same boat that I was in. So I want to be that support for them. I want to allow them to dream big and to get to those goals that they have, and to create their own self-values that they can hold on to and be strong to and everything. And then along that side, I also have supports that I need, which is becoming more stress-free. Because when you're not stress-free, students could pick up those things, and their learning gets targeted by that, and their learning comes to a stop. And while they're just worrying about, oh, is Miss Thor happy, Miss Thor sad, like what happened, are we at fault, they're no longer learning. They're just wondering and pondering about the issue now. And another thing is community involvement. Because I'm so determined and focused on my goals, I forget sometimes to give back to my community that helped me so much. And that those are just like the little things, like, supporting those in need, whether I could just donate a little bit, or I could just help out. And just these things, little things that I should be capable to do, but I'm forgetting about it because I'm just focusing on myself so much. So just learning to be not so self-centered, and also having an open worldly view of what's actually happening in my surroundings too. So that's what I really learned from this identity assignment. And that's where I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.